So let's talk nominations. Um, how do you guys just walk me through just your impressions as someone who's outside the DC bubble? Mark, I'll start with you. What do you think about how Trump's nominees are faring, and what are your overall impressions of the picks?
I love the picks. Well, I don't love all the picks. I mean, and Daisy will definitely address the ones that she's not particularly happy with, like the Surgeon General. But
Why?
most.
What? But do you share that?
Oh, I can't
Go ahead.
stand her. I absolutely loathe her. She needs to step out immediately. I think she's a
Jeanette
disastrous.
Neuschwander, right?
Yeah, Jeanette. Is that how you pronounce it? Neshwa? Yeah, I think she's a utter disaster. She needs to bow out because of everything she did during COVID. You can't do takebacks on that. I just think that.
What does that mean? Because I've met her a couple times, actually at Mar-a-Lago. She's on Fox a bunch, and I've always thought she's a very nice person. I can't say I've looked into her medical record. I thought she was a private practice.
I'm sure she's delightful as a human being. I'm sure she's lovely. And
what do you mean that all the things she did during COVID?
She supported masks in school. She was all about the booster. She was like BFFs with Fauci. She was praising Fauci. She did the TikTok dances during COVID. I mean, she needs to go away. And then she also is all about this whole, hey, if your child identifies as another gender. I mean, is
that stuff that so I think I'm pretty well informed, right? Is that stuff that's on TikTok? Is it or is it on was it segments she did on Fox? Like how did you know this?
I just get on Twitter and I'd see the things and I can see and that stuff lives forever. So
I know, but I mean that's where I did. So in other words, you have to if you go to her Twitter page, that's where you'll see this.
Well, I mean, she probably is saying, I don't feel that way now, but I didn't listen. I was pretty consistent during that time. She is a doctor. So I just don't trust her. There are other people that Trump could have picked for this position. I love every other pick that he has picked. I mean,
every one of them,
except for her. Stellar picks, really great disruptors. She is not that. She does not. It's like one of these things does not belong. She is the one that doesn't belong.
It's like that guy too that withdrew after. I don't even remember what it was for or who it was, but like some guy also there was Twitter.
The DEA, Chad Cronus.
Yes, him.
Yes, he had to withdraw because there was so much that came out about like this hunger that he had for control during COVID and some of the things that he said, people he went after, it was ridiculous. And then Trump ended up saying, of course, well, he didn't withdraw. I told him to get out because I didn't like the things that he was saying to my supporters. But I mean, I feel like there's, with rare exceptions though, by and large, I'm really excited about the picks that Trump has made.
Without question.
Can I ask you guys a question? This is what I just, from a political science standpoint, so no one jump on me. I'm always intrigued by dynamics, but I feel like in Trump world right now, like look at a guy like Mike Pompeo. Now I've heard, and I didn't realize this at the time because I talked to a lot of my buddies around Trump world and I said, what's up with Pompeo? Like why suddenly the hostility to him? And they said, well, he made some comments about January 6th, which I still have never actually seen, to be clear. And then there was some DEI stuff at state. And I was like, okay, so largely he stayed and, he stayed loyal to the president. Yeah. And then I said, but let me get this straight. So RFK was a Democrat up until like 4 weeks ago. And he's okay. And Tulsi bashed the president when she was a Democrat, but then she switched over and she's okay. So to me, I'm always intrigued by the purity piece of this. Why is a guy like Pompeo on the outs, but somebody like RFK or Tulsi are okay?
No, I hear the Pompeo thing is a little bit weird to me too. Like I saw Pompeo speak here in Waco, several years ago now. I can't exactly, but I know it was after, he was in the administration and it's like right after he lost a bunch of weight and everything. He looked good. I was like, gosh, he looks good. And I remember thinking then I wonder if he's going to run for president because he had lost all that weight. He was like, and he was
me too. And, you know what? When you lose a ton of weight, I always think you're going to run.
Right. What are you going to run for? So, and I was like, what is he doing? Like, what is he gearing up for? And he spoke very nicely about Trump, like that speech that he gave, and it was great. And he sounded very loyal. So yeah, that was kind of surprising to me too, Sean. I didn't know. I don't know. But then again, I'm not behind the scenes. I don't know what goes on behind closed doors.
But I think I'm not behind the scenes, but I'm like, I talk
but you're in the scenes,
right?
Like, wait a second, why? But
you're in them.
Just so everyone understands this, I'm just trying to understand. I'm not crapping on anyone.
Right.
But what I don't get is Tulsi Gabbard literally was critical of Trump. and his foreign policy decisions and the people he's surrounding himself up till like 2 years ago, right? And then I appreciate and welcome her conversion. I want that. I love it. So, but what I don't understand is, when was the line? Why is it okay that she said, when she came over the line, we don't hold anything against her past? RFK, again, I love the Maha movement. I'm so, like, I find myself so intellectually curious because he's asking questions that are like, yeah, God, why didn't I think of that? Why is that? And suddenly red dye number 3 is on the outs because of him.
No
but
more
the reason though, I mean, the reason I think that, or what you're asking is like, what's the difference between a Pompeo and some of these other people? The difference is that the other people that you've mentioned, the Tulsis, the RFKs, they are total disruptors. And Mike Pompeo is very old school establishment.
Yeah, he is.
You know, he's the guy that everybody thinks of.
That's a great point.
Being part of the old timey club.
Yeah, and I think
we don't want that anymore. People really want new, disrupting, different points of view. That's why they're so. That's why we're so into.
You know what? I gave us. I think that I'm so glad you said that, Mark, because I've been searching for the word, right? Because people go, he wants to surround himself with loyalists, and I'm like, a loyalist can sit at a desk, right? That doesn't. But he wants disruptors. That's I'm gonna. Okay.
They're like the team of Marvel superheroes that are going to go in there and just smash the crap out of the establishment. That's what we wanted the first time. It just didn't quite make it. And now I think he is really poised to be able to do this because he is surrounding himself with the right people. But then also his disposition is just different this time.
All he wants to talk about is the military. He's a military guy. I used to kid him about it. I didn't think it would be in this position where he may be, hopefully will be Secretary of Defense.
I mean, I think that would happen after you get shot in the head.
You know what? By the way, I'm so glad you brought that up, because when he did the Meet the Press interview this weekend, everyone's like, the tone and tenor was so good. And I've said to people, 2 things that come to mind for me are, number one, in your second term, and especially having 4 years to think about it, your legacy is forefront. You're like, what do I want to be known for? What do I want to get done? But then secondly, not just 1, but 2 assassination attempts have to get in the back of your head thinking, if I were to die, what would my legacy be? What have I done? What do I have? What do I want to spend my living days doing now that God has given me a second chance?
Right.
And I think that's it's overlooked by the media. I think he understands, he's acutely aware, more so, of the value of life and the precious time that we have to get things done.
Yeah. And how much he loves America, how much he loves his family, how much he loves all of us. And I think it's palpable. Like, you can see it this time. You can feel it. It's like, and we all want to be a part of that. And that is awesome. I love that.
And he knows better now. I mean, he's gone, like, he's done this before. Now he knows the game. He knows the levers to pull. He knows who he can trust, who he can't. I mean, he's better at it, right? Because he's experienced now.
And he doesn't want to fail. Like, I think that is another driver for him. Like, I don't think a lot of us, there's a lot of us who are really pissed off at a lot of people who wanted him to fail the last time around. And really, that was their mission in life, is to destroy him, right? And we want revenge on some of those people. Some of us are like, put him in jail, like, Fauci for prison, people like that. I get it. But I think essentially his goal now, he is so tunnel vision. His revenge is success. I truly believe that. Like, he doesn't want to seek revenge on people. Maybe there are people around him who are like, yeah, we're going to like maybe seek revenge on some of these people. But Trump, he just wants to succeed, which is what we want. I believe.
By the way, you know what though? There's a difference. I think that, to your point, the success is the revenge, because it's almost like, haha, I told you guys.
Yeah.
See, I did. I mean, like, he wants it. Maybe not. There's some people who altruistically want success, right? I want you to do better. I think he wants to show all these naysayers, see, I made the country better, safer, more prosperous, despite your negativity. Yeah. Yep. All right, Daisy, you're down on Dr. Jeanette, but who are you high on? Who is the one person you go, if there's one person that needs to make it over the finish line that I really, really am excited for, who's that?
Well, I'd say Tom Homan and then Pete Hegseth. Those are the 2, kind of the neck and neck. They are tied.
Mock.
I mean, Tom Holmes, it's a slam dunk. Like, there's just nobody better at being in that role.
Right.
Pete Hegseth, I think, is gaining a lot of favor. I'm excited about the momentum that he's got. And Kash Patel, are you kidding me? The fact that the left hates him so much just fills me with glee, and I'm stoked about it. I'm stoked about all of them.
what do you think about, like, I was having this discussion on we have this morning meeting every morning at 9 a.m. on YouTube channel. People can tune in. And we were talking about the tactics. And I remind people Biden lost 0 Senate Democrats for all 21 of his cabinet nominees. No Democrat, no Senate Democrat voted against a single nominee. And so us Republicans with the 3-seat majority should remember that like, unless you have they've personally beaten you up. Like, I don't know why we're having this discussion. They got through a bunch of unqualified people, and people are like, oh, well, the tactics, the Heritage Foundation running ads, Charlie Kirk threatening Mike Rounds. I wouldn't even say, by the way, that's an inappropriate use by me. He isn't threatening him. He's reminding him, hey, if you don't want to go along, we'll primary you. That's not a threat. It's a reality.
Right.
But some people are like, oh, these tactics are unseemly. And I'm like, why?
Yeah. We've been talking about this ever since we started Chicks on the Right. We've talked about how Republicans have a hard time rallying. We're just not a rallying kind of party.
We're not rallying.
You know what I mean? Because like I think it's because I can't speak for Joni Ernst or people like that, but we're just so independently thinking, that's just how we are. I think as individuals, we're very individualistic as, just all of us, as we encompass our party. But on top of that, it's like, I get so frustrated. We both do. We get very frustrated with that because it's like, can you guys just get it together and rally for the party?
And remember the team that you're on for once, for crying out loud?
Yeah. This is the thing. I mean, come on, get it together.
Well, also, like, why are you, like, to your point about, I love the term disruptor, right? It's like, why is it okay that the status quo, like this qualifications thing? Look at what Antony Blinken, I mean, on paper, he's very qualified and the world has gone to crap under him. The Defense Department, you got Lloyd Austin, who went on a medical sojourn for like 10 days. No one knew who he was. We have a stockpile. I mean, the Admiral, by the way, this is a story that came out yesterday. One of the top admirals in the Navy said he's really worried about munitions. We have given away everything. Okay. And now we're worried about our stockpile. And somehow, by the way, the Pentagon hasn't passed an audit in 8 years. And no one thinks that that's a problem. Maybe it's time we did something different.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's exactly right. And at least Pete Hegseth understands what it is like to be in the military, to be in combat, to serve in actual, like, with other men. He's not just making decisions at this level where he's not considering what happens to military families. He actually gets that firsthand.
Yeah.
And he understands what the military's purpose is. It's not to fall prey to all this woke nonsense and to like make the left happy that there's enough trans people in it or whatever. It's about lethality.
Yes.
And it's really, really nice to hear him talk about that, because it's like, where has that attitude been for the last?
Do you know what I tell people all the time? The military is not a social experiment. If we get attacked, you don't want someone sitting there negotiating their pronouns with the Chinese. You want them to kill them and defend us, not go, my pronouns are he, they. It's like, the Chinese are going to go, is this a joke? Is this like a tactic?
Right.
Yeah. We're supposed to be creating warriors. I can't believe we have to talk about this. Like, I can't believe we have even gotten to the point where we're having this discussion right now. Like, this is all common sense. And so I think a lot of us out here are like, okay, so Pete just wants to go in there and reestablish common sense in the freaking military. Hello.
Yes.
Why is this a bad thing?
It's needed desperately.
Right. Yeah, make it happen. Yesterday.
You know what's funny though is there's some chatter now about like, will Tulsi Gabbard this? And I saw something that was just funny because it's almost like a backfiring tactic. This gets back to the left versus the right. So there's this thing breaking. Nearly 100 national security officials have reportedly signed a letter expressing opposition to Tulsi Gabbard's confirmation as director of national intelligence. And I tweeted back, by the way, I said, how many of these were on the Hunter Biden laptop?
Right.
By the way, I just. What's the old saying? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I'm like, do you guys get this tactic? Like, you guys blew it last time. I wouldn't be signing any more letters.
Oh, it's a sternly worded letter. Ooh.
Sternly.
Ooh.
Oh my God.
We're all scared. Yeah. Okay.
All right. We talked about nominees. Let's talk about actual issues. I want to ask you this: if you had a crystal ball and could look into the future and say, I'm looking at Trump's last day in office, what thing would you want to look back on and say, the one thing I want to know that he accomplished was X? What's that thing that says this is going to define whether Trump has a successful presidency or not? Mock, I'll start with you on this one.
There's so many, though. I can't pick one. I want a secure border. I
Yep.
want our military to be the most feared and the most effective in all the land. I want energy independence.
Is this Christmas?
It is our
I mean,
Christmas
I don't know how I'm
I
supposed
want
to
a new
choose.
truck. I want the army men. I want crayons.
list. Right.
I don't know how to pick just one because there are so many things that need to be
Hold on.
picked.
I want to hear Daisy's answer, and then I'll tell you what I thought you were going to say.
My big one for me, because this is one of the reasons that I became that we started what we started for my kids, for my grandkids, is government accountability. I think that they've gotten way too big for their britches.
Yep.
Our government is bloated and out of control. I'm so excited about Doge. And I just want these people to remember that they work for me. I pay their salaries. I'm so sick of these people taking my money and setting it on fire. And I just want some freaking accountability for once.
I agree. Here's what I thought, Mock, you were going to lead with, because you're so high on Tom Homan. And I know you said it, don't get me wrong, because you did say it, but I just don't think if you don't have a strong and secure border, you don't have a country. Nothing else matters. You can't talk about an economy. You can't talk about safety if you can't have a secure border. I mean, nothing else matters, right? And that's so I
said it first.
I no, you
That
did.
was my
You
first
did.
thing.
Right. She's like, I just want all these other things in my stocking.
Right. Then I need this. Then I want that. I just think, look, he's got to do that, because you can't, any of these other things, you don't have account. I'm so fired up about Doge, because I tell people I was the budget communications director in the House for 3 years, and we did this modest 0.5% cut back in the early 2000s on discretionary spending, and people wigged out. I don't understand why. If I go to work every day for 40 hours a week, rather, 8 hours a day, or who cares, double job, how you can sit back and not be outraged at how your government spends your money.
Right.
I mean, the backwards mentality is give us more and then we'll figure out how to spend it. My view is, I get it. You have to do some tasks. I get taxes are a reality of living in a free country, but don't waste my money and then mock and then laugh at it.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see the post office guy? We played him on our show this morning.
Louis DeJoy?
Yeah, he covered his ears.
I know. That was, yeah.
I cannot, like, this is the thing. And that is a microcosm for our bloated government. It's like,
but did you watch the whole thing? I didn't. And what I was trying to figure out, I saw the clip with him and Rich McCormick, the congressman from Georgia. And I get it. It was a viral moment, but I think sometimes, like, what was he going after him for?
Because he gave himself an A when asked to grade his performance.
Oh.
I mean, come on,
and McCormick was like, are you kidding me?
Are you drunk?
Guys keep demanding more and more money and failing harder and harder, and you're going to give yourself an A? That was what they were talking about.
Yeah, and he's like, la, 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 la. I mean, this is who we're dealing. And the guy makes what, $340,000 a year, and then he gets bennies and he gets a retirement, and it's like, come on.
Well, if you enjoyed this content, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and click the notification bell to get more.